Splitsville. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm Larry Charles, for what it's worth. I want to bring out the stars, the auteurs of this film. First, let's bring out Michael Kyle Marvin. Hi guys.
Hi.
This is the audience. These are the stars.
This is Larry Charles. He's like a comedy legend.
Watch me struggle with a piece of paper. Okay. So, thank you guys for being here, talking, and the audience I'm sure is going to enjoy this. Okay, I have a few questions, and let me start with, first of all, I love the movie. That's not a question.
It's a great start.
And one of the things I wanted to ask you about first was this, I found it to be a very original piece because it was a juxtaposition between a contemporary romantic comedy, a very modern movie in many, many ways. The sensibility was very modern, and yet you sort of synthesized that with classic screwball farce. And I wanted to know how intentional that was, and was that your idea from the beginning, or was that something that evolved?
I mean, yeah, it was. I think it was just it was very much a synthesis of two things that Kyle and I really love, like trying to make like a screwball comedy about contemporary issues shot in the style of like the European art house film. Was sort of like, I mean, you know, like kind of like taking from places that we just were super inspired by and trying to like amalgamate them into something.
And so, was this like a seed of an idea that then grew into what it was, or did it sort of come to you like all like in one sort of
fever dream?
Exactly, because it feels like a fever dream to watch.
No, I think we were talking about it for a long time. I think the scenes that really were the spark were probably the reveal, the revelation, where we had two people who said, "Oh yeah, we could deal with open relationships. We're in an open marriage, but I don't care." And then someone saying, like, "Okay, well then we just have sex," and then him beating the shit out of his best friend.
We knew that scene and we knew the opening. There were sort of two scenes that became like kind of the foundation of saying, let's write a movie about this. We know that there's a new relationship that one of the partners is having second thoughts about, and they're going to confront death in a very like blunt force way, and that's going to be the spark where she just goes, I can't do this anymore. So we knew that, and rather than confronting the conversation, he's just going to run away from it.
That was an incredible scene, by the way, because you're sort of going along, you don't exactly know where it's going to go, things are starting to turn already in the car, and then suddenly the accident occurs, and you don't know whether this is going to now plunge the movie into a totally different tone, but no, it sends it into a higher comic level, which I thought was really miraculous the way you did that. I thought that was great. That is black comedy at its best.
Yeah, I think that's where we as writers gravitate toward. The darker and the weirder we can find comedy, and like the more excited we get.
And I think it's a testament to Adria as well, because that scene, I think you carry that emotionality in such a great way. And I think I remember being on set when we were doing that scene, that breakup in the car, and I was just like, this is fucking brutal. You know what I mean? Like, this hurts so much. And that, it was that moment where I was like, oh, we're in good hands. Like,
well, also as an audience, and I don't know if everybody agrees, but for me, that was such an unpredictable moment, because even after the accident happens, you go, oh well, you know, everything's going to be okay. This is like it's going to be some sort of humorous, and no, the person dies. I thought that was really. How did you feel about that?
Well, like she says, it wasn't an almost near-death experience. It was a death experience. Which is what like
Which is a
pivot
great
her
line.
into making this like huge decision. I love Ashley so much, and she's taught me so much too. She's someone that has no idea, who she is or where she's going, and unfortunately hurt someone in the making. But I remember perfectly reading that scene. Well, when I first read the script, I was like, man, it's rare that you get scripts that are actually funny, that make you giggle when you're reading it. You're like, oh, I can see that bit sort of working, and with a little bit of improv, it'll be really funny. But this movie, like, it was just funny from the get-go. And the first, maybe 20 pages, I was like, what the hell is happening right now? Like, what is going on? And then when she makes that decision of like, I want the divorce, I was like, and I want this character. I'm like, I don't know where the movie is going, but I like her.
So you had no qualms, as soon as you read those first 20 pages, you wanted in.
I'm in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
great.
she's like a revelation. She's one of one. There's not many people who have kind of like, it doesn't seem like a brave thing to take on a character like that, but it's a character, typically, infidelity is used in romantic comedies to be a justification for the other character to do anything they want. Like it's like oh, they did this bad thing, so now we can go on this other journey. And she tackled this, but she was like, yeah, no, I can do this. And there's no redemption for her character, and yet at the end they end up together, and they're sort of, and Adria was just like, no, I got this. And I was like, you got this? I was like, because I'm nervous as director. I'm like, how are we gonna pull this off and bring the audience along? And because she embodies the character with such love and such care and such like there's just truth under it. It's an indescribable thing, because you watch her and you go, she's doing bad things, but I love her and I understand it and everything's okay. And that's like I can't point to what it is that she's doing to do that. I can just say that it's like a little bit of magic for me.
Well, I think this is true of all four of you, including Dakota. I think you all have this X factor that allowed you to go to these dark places and still be charming, still be sort of lovable in a kind of weird way. And I thought that was something you can't really even direct that or predict that. It's something that all of you sort of just have, and it really worked well. That chemistry between you and that sort of charm that you exuded rather naturally, organically, that was really a thing that kept driving the movie when you guys took it to those very dark places. And so congratulations even on that.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we all kept in mind, maybe I'm over speaking for you, but certainly our intention was that everyone's trying to do the right thing. Like, all the characters are trying to make the best decision, and they think it's healthy. Like, you think it's healthy to break up with me, I think. You know what I mean?
Well, it is, yeah, but I think Ashley actually has no clue what the hell she wants. And she's just like, I don't know, I remember calling, I'll tell the story, so I remember calling Mike, saying like, there was this montage in the film, you guys just saw it, where she dates all these different people, and I was like, man, but I have so many girlfriends of mine that have, go on 2 dates with like a yoga instructor, and they come back, they're like, I love yoga. I'm like, bitch, shut up! You never liked yoga in your life. Or like, they're like, date a poet, and they're like, have you read this poem from Neruda? I'm like, fuck off! Right now. So I called Mike, and I was like, man, I really want to tackle that, like that desperation that we have to find love, that we're willing to go to these places to like shape-shift ourselves to feed someone else's ego, to make them fall in love with us for like a second. And it only lasts for 3 days. Like, you can't uphold that for too long. But it was just funny, and it turned into, and Mike was like, you're psychotic. Okay, how do we do that? I'm like, maybe costume? Like, maybe just switching things.
She pushed us. Yeah, and I will say, like, that came out of, we improved that whole sequence in that scene because of her sort of like impulse to be like, I wanna like, let's do more. And I was like, oh, we need more.
And that's a continuous shot. That boyfriend sequence is a continuous shot. So the camera, yeah, well, there's a couple stitches, but there's a lot of points where she's running from one room to another, and like in a bike outfit, stripping off a dress and like throwing on a
We were all
shirt.
butt-ass naked.
Yeah, it was great.
Everybody, like the second the camera panned, it was like, Charlie was like butt naked. I'm over here taking the helmet out. And then if one person messed up, then we would have to start all over again. And it was kind of cool, and it became this like really beautiful cinematic, symbiotic moment that all of us were like in sync, director, camera, DP, actress, everybody, costume. We're like, all right, in order to make this really beautiful sequence that Mike has in his head, we all need to become one. And if one messes up, then you're all screwed. And I think I might have been one of the ones that I left like my biking helmet on. I remember that. I don't remember if that was in a rehearsal or something, but I remember being that asshole.
You know, I just gonna say, go, please.
No, I got nothing.
You all commit, and I think that's a really crucial part of comedy also. You committed, and you had a confidence in your vision, and I wondered if that was true from the very beginning, or whether that was kind of an illusion, and you created this great illusion of confidence on the screen, or whether you really knew from the start that you had the tone, you had the structure, you had the performances that you needed to make this movie work.
Well, I think it's better to go down confidently than go down without confidence. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna fail, you might as well fail just like blindly confident, because I don't think you have a shot if you go in without confidence. So we knew, the previous film Kyle and I made was a different tone than this, maybe not as farcical, not as broad and big and like, you know, just ridiculous. But we kind of knew that we wanted to make this just like a pure comedy, just something that just like was, well, or at least came out of the gates for the first 45 minutes and was just like funny, like what am I watching? And I think we had confidence we could pull that off. It was obviously like we had to thread the needle on certain scenes because, you know, we didn't have an endless budget, and we had to like do, the car crash was very hard to pull off because we shot it in a very like obnoxiously elaborate, you know, like oh, it has to be done. The guys, you know, we drove for a quarter mile with the same stunt driver, and it was real, and the camera had to pan around and land back on them. And the roller coaster scene was like, you only had one shot at that, so Kyle, you know, I needed to have, Kyle just happens to be like a modern day Charlie Chaplin, where he has the ability to, you know, be impeccable with his physical comedy on the roller coaster, you know, and
Were you cool on the roller coaster?
I was nervous as shit. Yeah, and we shot on film, so there's a 35mm camera mounted on a roller coaster in front of you, which is not small, you know what I mean? And it was sort of, we were just like, all right, let's fucking go. And the bags are flying everywhere, pictures flying off the roller coaster, and we didn't know where they would go. You know what I mean? Like what happens when you let go of fish on a roller coaster? And it's like, oh, there they go.
And I'm not gonna say this, but we were only supposed to be just riding the roller coaster. The whole Kyle with 10 bags of fish launching in the air was a totally stolen shot that we weren't allowed to do. That was a whole other component to it. That was, yeah.
So that brings me to another big question, which is the stunts, the fights. Let's talk about that. I mean, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are doing those stunts.
Yeah, that's all us.
I remember you falling down that flight of stairs, and it's like, there's your face, rolling down the stairs. So tell me
Can't
about...
mistake this face.
They were like, there's no stuntman that can do it.
Right. Tell me how you worked those out, and what price you paid, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we just, it was one of the foundational things with the movie. We said we're doing our own stunts, and then when they said, oh, we won't insure it, we said, well, we're gonna do it. It became like a standoff, and it was like, well, we're making the movie, we're not making the movie, and eventually we made the movie. And we trained for quite a bit. We trained for like maybe a little more than 4 weeks, every night at a bouldering gym, and we would just throw each other around on mats in the back. There was probably a clause that says no wrestling, but we,
I think for us it was important too, because one, there's physical comedy all throughout that fight sequence, and we wanted that tangible like sense of like, let's shift the pace down, no knives, and also we want people to look at it and go like, holy shit, I think they're punching each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we were punching each other and getting the wind knocked out of us, and that whole downstairs sequence, it's cut in the movie. There's some coverage that we went to, but we shot it as a continuous take. So it's 5 minutes of nonstop fighting.
Right.
So a lot of times when we're in there and we're out of breath and like struggling with each other, it's because we're 4 minutes deep of fighting each other, you know what I mean, on the 5th take of the day, and we're exhausted, knocked out of breath and bruised, and so.
Well, it was another great juxtaposition in the movie, because the the fight is choreographed, you have some really cool moves, there's a lot of judo and karate going on, and at the same time, you're two humans having a fight, which just knocks the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Basically, you just run out of steam after a while, but you kept coming back. I mean, that was really very admirable stuff, I thought.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed
Yeah, I mean, I think why I like this fight scene is because you know why they're fighting.
Yes.
And so like I think it would run out of steam much quicker if it was just like, oh, there's a fight scene, but it's not rooted in like a very real human emotion that we all can understand, which is like jealousy. And which is like this person talked a big game, he said like, yeah, I'm not jealous, and then all of a sudden confronted with it, he's like, okay, I'm very jealous. And I think that's something we all sort of understand because we've all experienced it in some form or fashion. And I think to me that's why I felt like we could make a way too long fight scene because it was rooted around like a very human emotion, you know?
And guys who love each other, you know what I mean?
Right,
Want
right.
to kill each other, but love each other.
Right. Adria, why do you love to do comedy so much? I mean, you were great also in The Hitman, and very funny in that. You're really mixing it up. I also love Blink Twice. I thought that was great. So I'm curious about were you like funny as a kid? Was it something you did? What led you to decide to go and be so funny?
I mean, coming from you, that might be the best compliment of all times. Thank you. The fact that you think I'm funny, wow. I don't know. I think there's so much freedom in comedy, and comedy's so scary as well. It's always been something that scares me a lot. But I find a lot of freedom, and I think in independent movies and in comedy, I've been able to find characters that contemporary sort of the film world won't necessarily give me those roles or look at me and say, oh, you're gonna be this or that. And I think if you know me a little bit, I think you wouldn't say that about me. So it's hard. I've always felt like I've had to sort of fit in somewhere where I don't feel identified as. And then in comedy and then in indie movie making, I've sort of found and discovered all these really cool and interesting women and met directors that take a chance on me and just go, be crazy, be wild,
Right.
do your thing, and it's been the best adventure of my life, really, being able to play in these fields. And making somebody laugh is the best gift in
Yeah.
the world. There's no better feeling. It's something that's, and you just kind of fall in love with it and you learn. I've learned so much from just working with them, working with Rick. It's been pretty cool.
Well, that's another layer of the comedy also. I mean, we talked about some of the dark comedy and the physical comedy, but there's a precision in the verbal comedy also. I mean, you guys are slinging the lines back and forth with great timing, and again, that's a testament to you and to the writing as well. And I'm just curious.
The writing has not.
I can only take so many compliments. You gotta cut it off. You gotta cut me in the knees.
Guys, don't fight now. But talk about that a little bit, the precision of the verbal comedy also, because that was a very impressive part of the movie as well. And all these different layers working at the same time.
Well, I think that the challenge we find with verbal comedy sometimes is you put too much pressure on it. And we try to take the pressure off the verbal comedy. And I think we're okay with our lines not being funny and our lines not landing. And I think because we get really comfortable with a scene not being funny, and somehow it finds its way to be funny. Maybe it's funny in a surprising way, or like the thing I love most about this film is like there's a bunch of lines that most people don't laugh at and one person laughs at.
Right.
And then like maybe another time another person will go, oh, that was kind of funny. And to me, like my favorite lines in this movie are the ones that are just like the dumb throwaway lines that someone says that no one really picks up on.
The shitty dog line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyle has that dog, and that's
It's an ongoing thing with us.
And really, it was like one of the most important reasons to make this movie is to really make a statement about doodles.
I carry my dog like that, and we had to train a dog, and they're like, you don't carry dogs like that. Like, here's some pictures. Carry my dog around like this.
That is how Kyle carries his dog. It's weird. Someone should call.
I think also like we like to plant jokes sometimes like 20 minutes apart from each other because we find it funny by the time we're there in the writing process. We're like, oh, you know, it's really funny is to make a joke here that we set up like 5 scenes earlier, and some of that just doesn't land like and openly, like you don't really experience it, but subconsciously your mind's like, oh wait, they said that combination of words in a different setting 10 minutes ago, and I think some of that is psychological warfare we're waging on you guys. No, it's just something that we find really funny. And
but also structurally brilliant because those kind of callbacks really pay off also.
Yeah.
I mean, for the audience, it's fun. It invests the audience in the movie, you know? It's like remembering that line from before and now seeing it pay off gives the audience engagement with the material, so they're not just sitting back as passive observers. They're now actively involved in the movie, which I think brings it up to another level as well.
Because they're smart.
Well, yeah. Treating audiences smartly with comedy and then giving them the dumbest shit you can think of is sort of like maybe our sweet spot. Like, take like a really smart comedy and then do really dumb stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I just want to say for Adria, like, she is so incredible as a comedic actress because she commits so hard. And I think like our whole ethos with when we're making a comedy or when we're doing this is like no one's in a comedy. You know, it's like if you're not in a comedy, you're not in a comedy. Every character is experiencing what they're experiencing for real, and it's really sad and it's really heartbreaking, but the audience is gonna laugh at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the secret sauce. And then like, because if you wink at the camera too much, it just becomes like, okay, why do I care? At least for my taste. So it's almost like, and she'll just do crazy shit with full reckless abandon and commitment, and I'll be like, I don't think I can go in the movie, but that's amazing. You know? So I don't know. I just think like she's a gift because like she commits and she's really like believing it as the character.
Adria, are you a fan of Barbara Stanwyck or Rosalind Russell or those classic screwball comedy heroines?
I am, yeah. I am. Not in reference to this movie whatsoever, but yeah,
Well, you've absorbed something, through osmosis, because the way, again, your timing, your precision and all of that was really kind of was a driving force. And that's something that's like a certain aggression, and it's like, it became very funny. You know, and again, it's not about the jokes. It's not really about jokes. This movie's really about the timing and the honesty of the situations. And I thought that all of you really kind of presented yourselves with great honesty in that situation.
Thank you. I mean, it also comes from having a really great director, and I think there's.
Talk about that.
No, I'm gonna go for it. Leave me alone. Really contagious energy to him, and I think the more people are around him, the more you understand it, or the more you hear him talk. And he's like that on set, and you can attest to that. I think anybody on this movie can. He has this like, it's unexplainable. He has this energy, and when you're about to do a scene, you just feel like you're invincible in a way. So I came up with some really gnarly shit. It's all because of you. It's your fault. I mean, I remember the singing sequence. I was like, I'm gonna do a performance, and it was only because he gave me every confidence in the world that I could do anything I could, and nothing was wrong. There was no right and there was no wrong. We were gonna find it, and I could pretty much hit things wherever I wanted, and there was no embarrassment. And if there was, we were gonna laugh about it, and nobody else was gonna know about it.
Well, they laugh about it.
And because I did that one take, and he's like, and that's what we're doing. I'm like, fuck. One hit.
But you gave the cast, and you obviously had it yourself, the confidence, the safety net to go to these places and be okay. And even to fail and do it again or find something else. And that seems really important. I'm curious, was there anything that was cut out? Or is this was the screenplay pretty much what we see?
There's a scene that I every day I wake up in a cold sweat of the industry. No, okay. There was a great scene that we had to cut during pre-production, like right before we started principal photography, which was Kyle at the school as a gym teacher. And
Before the principal scene.
Before the principal scene, there was a scene where he's like, the kid's upset, and he goes over, he's like, hey man, what's going on? He's sitting in the bleachers. He's like, what, you don't want to play volleyball? He's like, oh no, and he's talking to the kid, and he encourages him to go in, and then the kid pantses the other kid and breaks his arm, and the camera was going to show like a bone sticking out of his kid's arm.
The whole shot was just us in the bleachers, and I was like, you get out there, man, like,
It would've been great.
do it, and then he walks down the bleachers and then shatters the kid's arm. And then in the principal's office.
Like seeing a kid with a broken arm and doing like really
With his hands
grotesque,
down.
like grotesque,
Yeah.
like, you know, like bloody. I think it would have been a nice energy, you know, it would have upped the energy at that moment.
Well, you didn't get the energy was there the whole time.
It was kind of there, but that's, if there's one like low point, it was like right around the principal's office, and it's because initially in the script, there was a scene there that there was a bone sticking out of a kid's arm. Solved that problem.
It does put higher stakes.
It would raise the stakes, yeah.
Yeah. We could talk for a long time. I really love talking to you guys. I love the movie. I think we're just about out of time though. So I want to say thank you. Why don't we all thank